choice here. So let's take a look at how these games are going to unfold.
Yeah, and it looks like they were going to go at first to the second floor, the mining train room, but they decided to go upstairs instead. That's something that on the face looks like a very difficult one to defend because of that skylight, but teams have found out how to defend it pretty well. And you see the battles we discussed earlier and saw earlier over the Christmas piano room up the top floor. So if you can defend that well, you can defend essentially most of the bar, then as long as you control those stairs and those windows. So we'll see if they're able to do that, and if they are, it'll give them a good start to this match.
And so like you said, kicking it off here on round number 1 is going to be Lethal, choosing that top floor bomb site here inside of the bar and inside of the cigar lounge here.
Now, because they're bringing that mute, that makes me think that maybe they want to set up some choke points here on those stairs and some of those areas to make it hard for them to get those drones in and get some good intel on that top floor. That way they can kind of choke off a lot of that, play some of the people on the top floor, play some people on other floors, but then the opposing team won't necessarily know where everyone's at.
Well, unfortunately, it looks like an impact grenade just destroyed one of Ducky's jammers there, but nonetheless, he still has 3 left to go, and so hopefully he'll be placed in better positioning.
Yeah, Mute definitely gets a lot of utility out of having 4 jammers, especially on a map that has good choke points. Like, the stairs themselves represent a nice choke point that gives a lot of utility to that. And the attackers aren't necessarily bringing a Thatcher or anything that's going to do anything about that. They're bringing a little more attack-heavy team other than Thermite.
Yeah, and so I mean, right now we're going to be watching Ken's getting on those outside cameras. He's going to be spotting all of Mindfreak basically coming in from the Christmas tree spawn, and that's kind of the middle spawn zone between the 3 that are optional here, and some would say the most favored. Yeah,
I mean, there's always the idea of like one thing is worrying about spawn peaks, and the second thing is like where do you actually approach from to get to somewhere. So seeing someone spawn does tell you a little bit about, but not too much because there is the safety issue of your spawn.
Yep, and we can see Rams' Yokai is going to be on the white stairwells going down towards garage. Typically, this is actually a perfect spot. He's able to get out for 3 seconds, but it does get destroyed right away.
That was a
very good eyesight.
Yeah, I like that idea of using the outsideness for just a second, just like, you know, peeking outside as a defender. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but maybe we'll see that again, perhaps work out later.
Looks as though Dizzle's going to spot out Lethal here inside of the mining room, and Ace looks like he wants to get on over to the window. He's going to turn upside down, though, and get onto the roof.
And this is what we see typically a lot of these attacks, taking control of this floor as well, if you can take control of the mining room. That way when you put in pressure from the top floor and push people downstairs, you can take them out a lot easier.
All right, and so as the round unfolds, there's still very little interaction between the 2 teams just yet, but that is sure to change as we are halfway into the round here.
Definitely. You always want to have one guy peeking through that skylight trying to see if there's any free picks in that bar area if someone just happens to cross and isn't paying attention. But it does dedicate a bit of a resource to having someone just standing there.
Yeah, looks like a team kill happens here. Rams might be getting a little trigger happy, taking out Bones.
Not a great start for Lethal, especially after destroying one of their own gadgets as well.
Definitely not a good start, but we do see Punisher able to open up the wall there at the top of red stairs, going to get a drone in, and has a Claymore to help cover. And he kind of push around, and the C4, though, comes throwing out there, and that is Ken getting that explosion onto Punisher.
Well, hopefully they feel a little bit better about evening up the numbers after that team kill.
Looks as though we're going to have Aces get taken down by Duckies there. Another MP5 kill. 45 seconds left to go on the board. A 4-on-3. Now Flanked is coming in through the main corridor, second floor, working his way over to the yellow or the white stairs, coming on up, and he's got some barbed wire to deal with. Kens comes around for the flank from behind, and he's going to spook him up the stairs a little bit more. And right into the crosshairs of Duckies. Duckies picks up that shot in the roll for you easily. Gets Dizzle down. Now it's a 4-on-1. Last man alive out from Piano is going to pop easily for a second kill and turn the first round here into Lethals.
Gotta say, that was he was a little ironically named as Flanked right there, as he definitely was. That was a bad situation for him getting pushed off like that, but against that many people with only a few directions he could go, definitely didn't leave him in a good position for that. Despite that team kill towards the beginning, Lethal really bringing it that first round, showing that this is a map that they want to dominate on.
Showing that they can get 6 kills in a round and still win.
So we'll see if Mindfreak play any better on defense than they did on that offense there. But
we are going to still retire ourselves upstairs into the bar and the lounge over here. Again, this seems to be, now that this map is getting played more and more, this seems to be more of the favored bomb site, especially with the introduction of Hibana.
Yeah, definitely. It's a situation where, you know, if you're playing the mining room, you do have to deal with a lot of top-down attack on you.
Now, what I do like here that we're seeing right at the start of the get-go here is actually opening up a walkway from bathroom into the freezer.
Yeah, it's something you see, like, to be able to, because like you saw where Ash got trapped last time, this is a situation where we could only go to the bathroom and nowhere else to go. The defenders want the flexibility to not be trapped in that white stair hallway right there.
10 seconds left.
So looking up here, we're going to see Rolfie laying down some more barbed wire, making his way into the piano room, where we also have flanks as well as a few others. Looks like we are going to see a typical possible 5-man onside defense, all playing top floor. I mean, it is a very spacious top floor here.
Yeah, and but they have opened up some flexibility. You see that hatch there, for example, being opened in that little cigar room, giving them some flexibility to drop downstairs and come up from behind. And I imagine they're probably going to have to use that at some point if all the pressure comes from the top.
Now Lethal is making their way all the way up top onto the roof, and the majority of them, Duckies, all of them, coming on up. Rams is going to be following up the rear end here as he does have the diffuser in hand. Flanked, holding onto the cigar lounge, holding onto the piano room, keeping his eyes on white stairs as well as the entry point by Minibar inside a piano. Ken's trying to get rid of all the ADSs possible, gets rid of one of them.
One thing we aren't seeing from the defenders here is any kind of intel gadgets. They're not bringing the Yokai drone on Echo. They're not bringing Valkyrie cameras. So they are going to be limited to kind of face checking a bit more than they probably should. So that could backfire on them if they're not able to kind of communicate well and keep good control of the map.
And it looks as though Dizzle will get droned out here potentially here inside of the cigar lounge. He's going to navigate on over into piano momentarily.
Looks like they managed to get down to red just fine without any opposition there. And that Claymore is going to help him from getting flanked from behind. Definitely good use of that as he tries to work through this castle door.
See, this is something I like seeing from an attack squad, is they're going to use that castle barricade to their own benefit, making sure that they can't get swamped on over from the side.
You see him meleeing it, though. They might actually open it on them.
Looks like Bones picks up a double kill onto Dizzle and flanked, and that's going to be a double kill. Like, ooh, getting rid of a little bit more destruction there. Getting rid of a possible cam. But now you've got Ken's peeking on down the hallway towards the top of yellow stairs. Wall inside of the bar is going to get opened up here by Rams. That's his second explosive device being utilized. Capital Arrow is going to get blown on open. Bones gets a triple kill, another kill here for the round. Still 2 defenders left to go. That's going to be Rolfie and Smoke over here. Now we have Rolfie moving on up the stairs. Ken's gets 1 kill, and the final one from Ken's. It is the Ken's and Bones show today on round number 2.
I always like how all their names end with a Z, too. It's nice. But yeah, well played. Lethal definitely is good on that as they were on the previous round. That's not a great start for Mindfreak. This might not be their map, or like we said earlier, might be kind of a we'll lose the first couple rounds, feel it out. But so far looking good. Now that does mean Lethal's going to have to go down to the other bomb site now, though. So things are going to change up a little bit. Whether they're going to be in Mindfreak's favor or not, we'll still have to see. But the Lethal at least bringing that Echo drone and Valkyrie, so they're going to have a lot more intel, especially if they want to leave some areas, like leave the site, for example, and be able to roam a bit more and control that top floor. They'll have cameras down on the lower floors.
See, I think that's one of the reasons why you might have had a lack of intel, we'll say, from Mindfreak on that previous defensive hold, is the fact that they were top floor, and if they're not in the bar and they're not in the bar and the freezer, then they're in piano. But if you're going to bring a lurker, we didn't see any lurkers from Mindfreak on downstairs. If you are going to have roamers, are going to have lurkers, then it's probably beneficial to get that camera, get that yokai to help spot that information for you.
It's definitely nice to have one near site as well, so that if you're roaming off site and you're the last one left alive, all your dead teammates can tell you when you need to rotate back. So some good defense setting up here. You see even some bandit electricity on that wall just to make it so they can't come into dining as easily. They definitely want to defend more from the train room side and the mining side.
What we are going to see here is a very different set of operators on defense than we did see from Mindfreak previously. I mean, there's not going to be a smoke, there's no mute. It's basically just a matter of bringing the guns that are going to do the trick for you to get the win. Yeah, and using those castle barricades as well as the reinforcements to kind of funnel them a bit. Putting it on the windows is nice. They're forcing them to have to use some utility or smack a bit to get those open. And they ended up bringing a sledge on the opposing side, so they may just have to use ash breaches on those windows or just melee them. Now, Easley's going to be sitting up here inside of the cocktail lounge looking at the skylight. We already saw the yokai drone move over towards the white stair. So that's going to cover his flank, cover his side, make sure no one's coming up from behind him. And Kenj is going to be keeping an eye here on the cigar lounge and piano. So they're playing a very top-heavy defensive hold here. And I think that's what you want to do, because once you lose that top, there's so many holes that can be open in the floor. That's why you want to be poking around at that skylight, see if you can get someone like that. Yeah, it looks like Easily got a couple shots in the knees. Might have backed up a little bit. Ducky's going to get droned out of reading room and progress on over to the red carpet of second floor. He's going to have to navigate very quietly, though, because there are defenders or attackers around him.
Yeah, he's going to have to put some additional pressure and then use his teammates in the top floor to see if they can get in there. Just putting enough pressure on both the top and the side windows is usually enough to crack.
Oh, and the nade from Rolfie will pick off Ken's as he tucks himself into the corner of the cigar lounge. Now you still have Easily up here. He's going to hop on over and get over the banister downstairs onto the middle floor of White Stairs. However, Easily did take quite a bit of damage from that fall as well as the bullets hitting him in the back.
Looks like they're all being forced to rotate down now as they lost the top floor. This is where it's going to be hard for them to recover unless they can control those guys upstairs or like throw C4, things like that.
So here's Aces. He's going to be covering the top floor, just pre-firing the key spots that a lot of the defenders will sit at. Now he's going to be opening up the rest of the floor here, DMR in hand. What I'm expecting to see here is a potential just opening of a floor that will land right above one of the defenders and force him out of position and get him caught by one of the other members of the attacking side.
Yeah, that definitely requires some coordination, but is absolutely a good use of Buck.
Now we still have Ash, who came up the top of White Stairs. Rams playing the Echo is going to be inside of the fireplace. But again, this is flanked. Looking at the kill, Rolfie's going to get another one as Dizzle picks up a kill into Easily. Bones finally gets a trade down into Capital. And it looks like Bones is not quite done yet. He's still managing to get a kill here. A 2-on-2 now as Thatcher has been killed, or has been downed, and Rams has killed off Ace.
Still looking pretty good for Mindfreak here. This could be their bomb spot. I mean, they're only up by 1, but that's still a good number when they've got control of the top floor.
Definitely, and Rams is going to turn it here into an even count. 2-2, turn it into a 2-1. Now he's able to pick up one on Bones. Now a one-on-one as Dizzle takes down Bones for the count. With 7 seconds left to go, he's going to have to plan it in a mere 3 seconds, or Rams is going to get the win. But he's on the Yokai drone, and he will get the stop, and there it is. Lethal Rams is going to get the win here for his team.
Nice. Well played. Good use of that at the end there, stopping that plant. That was definitely, I mean, when you're in a 1v1 situation as an attacker, like your ideal situation is you have that diffuser planted. If you don't, you're in a really bad spot when time's running out like that. We've seen it in previous matches where it's just down to the wire and it's like they pretty much can just kill you, you know, as long as they don't get impatient.
And that's one of the things, I think that's, to me, that's one of the determining factors on whether or not an Echo is particularly viable on a particular map, is if the bomb sites are separated from one another. And in this case, you've got your fireplace of the B bomb site, you've got your train room, which is the middle, and has no value to the bomb site whatsoever, although you can't plant in there, and then you have your mining room, which is going to be your A bomb site. So you had what you saw Rams stationed inside a fireplace. He knew that the push wasn't going to come in there. They had always been focusing on the red stairs, onto the mining room, and so all he had to do was just sit on top of his yokai and ultimately get the win.
Well, Lethal has really been reading the other team well. They've been playing like flawlessly almost in terms of like wins. So far it's 3-0. They are getting a rehost here, so this is a chance now for the other team, for Mindfreak, to freak their mind into a good state here to actually take a round back. Otherwise, it's looking very strong for Lethal. I mean, this is a situation where, as it was discussed earlier, there was a lot more information on Lethal, but they might be pulling out strats that Mindfreak just wasn't prepared for. Yeah,
and I think what we are going to see here from Lethal is continued aggressive gameplay. It's what they're known for. It's what they've done to get here, and it's basically what I'm expecting to continue to see from these guys.
Yeah, and this is a map though that Lethal have played a lot in the qualifiers. So it's not something where it's just they pulled it out of nowhere.
Yep.
But they obviously show why they play it, right? Like they know what they're doing here. They've got some good strats, but it is all on like, can Mindfreak do something that's just out of the meta? Otherwise, like, it's going to be a situation where we're going to see a repeat of the same 3 rounds that we just saw, and then it's going to be over and on to the next map.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick a map where I would see Mindfreak excel on, I would have picked this of the 3. And the reason I say that is because with Cafe, to me, it doesn't necessarily come down to the final seconds and you have a 4-on-4 rush in, and then it's just a bloodbath, so to say. No pun intended. But the other 2 maps, you have Oregon and you also have Canal, correct?
Yeah.
Canal. So those maps, a lot of the times they are pushed into a window, pushed into a box, or pushed downstairs to the main stairwell, or get inside a kid's dorms, wherever it may be. Those always seem to tend to get down to the last 5-10 seconds, and then it does become a very aggressive, a very chaotic kind of closure to the round.
Yeah.
And so when it gets into that, that's kind of where your instinct takes over. And I think Lethal has very good game instinct.
Yeah, and we see them using that to just, like, we saw some great pinches, for example, on remaining players where they're not just, like, trying to get into these one-on-ones. They're obviously coordinating. And I don't know, I mean, they said during their thing that they don't necessarily need to talk, and maybe we're seeing that. Maybe we're seeing them not even having to say that out loud to coordinate that. They just know there's a guy over here, and they both just, okay, cool, we'll converge.
That's what I would like to get to see. I'd like to see if we can get their comms on stream and
Yeah, right.
just hear crickets. I mean, that's what I'm thinking is happening, because their cohesiveness right now is above anyone's expectations, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a few of the players doing a lot of the killing, but this is not a game where killing's the only thing. We're seeing a lot of players doing a lot of work regardless of killing.
Yep.
And I think that's just good coordination among all the players.
I feel like you talked about killing, and some teams or some players might be above in the leaderboard due to kills. But again, it comes down to the information. There's not everyone's going to get 20 kills a game. You're going to have some players that might get 1 or 2, but it's the support and the value that they bring to that team. And I think that's something that is underrated or underlooked by a lot of people.
It seems like Mindfreak might be one of those teams, as they just are not bringing the Intel gadgets to be able to provide that information. And I think that's a change they need to make ASAP, because as you can see, it's not working out for them.
Yeah, and so we are going to get back into the lobby here. It is round number 4. It's 3-0 right now with Lethal Gaming leading. This is map number 1 here on Cafe. Second map's going to be Canal, and the final map is going to be Oregon.
Now, if Lethal take this, that puts them on match point, and being on a match point 4-0 is almost impossible to come back from.
It is.
It has happened, but it's so rare.
It's a hurdle that you don't want to come across. It's a hurdle you don't want to even think about having to cross. And so this is going to this is my eyes in Mindfreak's. If they don't make it here, if they don't make this round, I guarantee you map 1 is going to go to Lethal.
Yeah, it's not looking good for them, but they had that break just when we did the rehost. They had a chance to really think about it, hopefully thought about, like, why are we losing these? And can we make at least one big change that's going to do that? And I hope that's the communication. I hope that's getting intelligence, being better prepared. But unfortunately, looking at their lineup, it's not. They're not changing that up. They're still bringing the other kind of utility operators that are not providing them any intel. Sure, they're bringing Mute to deny some of their intel, but without some of their own, they're just being forced to play more static positions. During their interview thing, they were talking about playing very disciplined, and I'm worried that that means playing very static. It's something Kix talked about being a liability sometimes.
Definitely. I mean, what we're seeing here are a very similar setup to what they previously lost on this defensive hold up top floor. And so what I would like to see is something get changed up, and it looks like Rolfie might make that indication as he's coming out here right outside of the mining room. Going to open up that window a little bit and then pop on over to the red stairs.
I'd almost like to see them try a spawn peek at this point just to really throw Lethal off, but not going to happen.
So for the time being, it looks as though we actually have Jaeger, who's managed to get his way all the way downstairs to the basement. That's Rolfie. He's right now trying to poke his way out of the door. Going to double hit it, draw the attention of some of the attackers, as now he's able to scoot around over here inside a bakery. Still very aggressive, and now he's just getting the attention of Lethal.
Yeah, he really wants them to have to drone and work downstairs, it looks like. And whether that'll pay off or not, it's hard to say. But it is definitely a good idea, especially being a 3-speed operator. You can get out of there quick, not be trapped in those noises you made there. See him rotating even back down through a different spot. I mean, no one's going to be expecting that hatch to be open right there.
Yeah, and I mean, he did grab the attention of Capital. Capital was on the scissor lift inside of Christmas, looking out over the ventilation second roof. And so he saw the crossover, going to be calling him out, saying he's on second floor. This is going to allow the Jaeger to come up from underneath and get a better flank.
Yeah, you can sometimes use those calls against them, although, hey, if Lethal aren't making a lot of calls.
Here it is. Wall inside of Piano is going to get opened up. Bones is going to be the first one in, but he's got to drone it first. And decides he's going to go in blind. Could this prove useful for him, or was it going to be the end of Bones for this round?
I like how he's using the reinforcement against them right there to give himself a little hiding spot, but the floor being open, looks like he's a little antsy about.
He's pre-firing in the corner. It looks as though Ducky Zoe is going to get injured here. Looks like from Cigar Lounge. And with that, you do have Jaeger trying to come up flanked, gets a double headshot onto Kens and Rams. It easily picks off Dizzle, and then flank finally goes down by Bones. With that trade man, it's a 3-on-2. And easily here, trying to get into the Cigar Lounge. Now that he's working his way towards the top of yellow stairs, there's still someone inside of the bathroom. Are they going to see him? Capital's going to be the first one to encounter that. It looks like he's going to be hitting the Jaeger, who's finally come up from the bakery and going to make his way here.
Interesting pre-fire there. Does finally realize one's in the freezer.
Ooh, and we're going to have a pistol fight here from Easily as well as Rolfie. Rolfie's finally going to skedaddle out of there into the freezer. But he's got to be wary of Bones. Bones is crouching his way into the bar. He's now made his way. He's going to be calling out there. His shots are going through. Looks like a double push here. Bones finally gets him down. I'm sorry, Rolfie finally finishes off Bones, but will be taken off by Easily. A double kill here from Easily. A one-on-one now. Gas Grenade's going to get thrown out. Nade's going to get thrown over to A, and it looks like that might be the end. However, the ADS saves his life. 30 seconds to go. Diffuser here in the hands of Easily. Are we going to see a rotation around from Smoke, or is he going to throw his gas grenades? It's going to be moments to tell. As
he knows where he's
Easily
going to be playing. Like, it's all like, can he rotate around behind him?
There he is. He rushes around, finally spots him. Shots are going to go flying. Who's going to get the final bullets down? They're both going ham back and forth. And it finally looks like the shotgun from Aces will land down onto Easily with power, making Mindfreak hit their first round, 3-1.
That patience from Ace is just letting the guy just run out of ammo and then just shotgunning him with confidence, knowing, hey, he can't even shoot at me anymore. He's out. So nicely played, Mindfreak, finally turning it around. I still don't think that was the best idea, not having that additional intel.
Agreed.
They just won some good gunfights. I mean, that can't carry you all the way there. So let's hope they are going to continue to adjust and continue that momentum. 3-1's not bad, as long as it's not 4-1 at this point for them. But this round could change that.
I think what we're going to see here is we're going to see I'm hoping to see a different attack from Mindfreak. I think what they need is to change it up a bit and not have everyone go the same direction, not have everyone start at the same spawn, but collapse from multiple different angles onto the defenders.
Yeah, I think they're going to need to do that. I mean, they've had that done to them, and it's not worked out so great for them.
What we are going to see, though, is, again, bomb site going back upstairs. There's only 15 seconds left in the prep phase, but we are seeing, again, a little bit of a different operator selection choice here, again, from both sides.
Yeah, both teams wanting to play this mute, using it to deny that top floor intel, but then also, like, bringing the yokai drone, but not bringing Valcams, because the Valcams, I guess, was more for when they were playing downstairs. So they are making bomb spot specific changes.
Now, like you said, one of the things that we haven't necessarily seen too much of is the peeking, but we do have Pulse. That is Ken's downstairs. He was in Bakery, rotated all the way up into red stairs now, as Flanked makes his way to the top of the Bakery.
And see, like, that's what I mean, too. Like, Lethal not just bringing camera operators, but also bringing other kinds of intel from Pulse here. I just think that's been a huge advantage for them so far, and I hope if they do win this that it doesn't carry over to the next map as well, and Mindfreak doesn't adjust.
I think what we are going to see, like I'm glad you pointed it out, is the difference in a team that's intel-based. They're trying to gather as much intel and also deny as much intel, as a team that seems to be going off of more of the feeling of the map or where the opponents might be. And that seems to be not working for Mindfreak, as Lethal Gaming is up 3-1.
Looks like they are doing at least some droning on Mindfreak. They're trying to get some intel, but some of that's going to be denied by mute. So that might not work out as well.
Now, with that nade being thrown in from Rolfie, he knows that he's suspecting. He doesn't know, but he's suspecting that everyone is outside of the piano room. That incendiary grenade is also going to give him a little bit more of a comfort zone, so he can repel on in here. But some shots go flying into the window, going to land on the Rolfie and try to make him double think before he does anything more. He was very close to just repelling in there.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to make him hesitate and burn up a lot more time, especially shots coming out from multiple directions here. Rolfie's going to have a hard time getting in there.
Now it looks as though Rolf did hit the upper hand. He was upside down, repelled, almost ready to spot the feet of Jaeger over there. However, Ken's is now still underneath inside of the train museum, working his way over to mining. He might be able to come up for a flank from behind, but right now there's still a minute 15 left to go.
Definitely going to use that heartbeat sensor to his advantage. If they manage to get in there, he'll be able to see their feet through the floor essentially, and maybe shotgun up or at least call out to his teammates to make the kill.
Now we do see Flanked. He's upside down outside of the bakery roof, outside right by the minibar of Piano. He's going to have to get on in here, but Duckies is on the wall, stationed to the side, but as Duckies backs up, he's going to get into the line of sight of Flank momentarily. He think he saw him. He's going to go for another repeat. Punisher's going to come on up too. They're going to be collapsing here on Duckies momentarily. Bullets are going to go flying in, and the shots finally land. However, Punisher also gets taken out by Easily on the crossfire. With that trade, it's now a 4-on-4. 35 seconds left to go, but Rolfie's going to say no, and Rams is going to get taken out, but Bones gets the trade down onto him. Again, this is trade after trade, and we are seeing here, looks like the attackers are in the lead at the moment as Aces takes down Bones and repels on into the A-bomb site. Ken's is now stuck inside of the cigar shop as he moves his way. He's going to come up right behind Bones. I'm sorry, right behind Dizzle. Puts a couple bullets into his back and makes him think twice before going in further. And now Easily still inside of the cigar lounge. We've got Aces getting down by Kent. C4 is going to get thrown on over. Can he blow it up? Doesn't do it in time. He only kills Aces, who's already been injured, so a 2-on-2 now. Diffuser has been planted. Flanks him in the top of yellow stairs. Dizzle will be killed off by the smoke. He's down for the count. Bye-bye. And now it's a 2-on-1. Last one's going to be Ash, and she was on the white stairs. C4 from underneath, I'm sorry, the explosion from underneath. He doesn't see it. He's going to have to shoot, but he doesn't have time. And therefore, it will be the round here going to the defenders. That is Lethal Gaming able to get rid of that diffuser.
I like that ninja diffuse there. I really thought the attackers might have had that with that hole in the floor, but using the distance on that diffuse, having just the right angle because of the beams on the floor there, meant it was very hard to actually counter that. So, I mean, had they had more manpower left, they probably would have been able to come around and shoot him in the back during that defuse, but they just didn't have it. I thought that was a round where they might have been able to take another round off of them.
They had it. They were up 3-2, and it was just a matter of once that plant went down, the collapse from the remaining two defenders all went perfect. They went exactly as they needed it to get the win. So with that, it's now what, 4-1?
Yep, not looking good for Mindfreak at all. They are on defense, which is potentially good, but they're not in a situation where they're doing a whole lot with that. So, again, we're still not seeing a lot of change-ups on their defense. They did manage to win that last one, but just not in the best way.
So are we going to see the similar setup that we've seen time after time after time on this top floor from Mindfreak, or are they willing to change it up a bit? And I'm hoping. Actually, they're not on top floor. They won that. So they're down here inside of the train room and mining room.
Yeah, and we'll see if they're going to play it top down or actually try and just defend bomb site. If they just defend bomb site, I don't think this is going to go well for them. I think they really need to have that top control because you know that Lethal's going to take it if they don't.
So we are going to looks like we're going to have a top hold a little bit, maybe three defenders. Flank's going to drop on down after he reinforces one of the castle walls onto the freezer wall, and then hops on down.
Looks like he was using that to kind of seal off to make it so they couldn't use the freezer drop down the same way they were.
That's a little bit nifty. You saw both of the attackers. There were two drones stationed on top of the that shelving or the windowsill there. Basically, what they're trying to do there is keep on to their information. They're going to throw that out later on. So
two drones then.
Easily done.
That's an interesting strat you don't see very often is people trying to save that initial drone and it to be picked up rather than just putting it in a position.
Now Flanks has quite of a cheeky angle there inside of the reading room, looking through the laundry room to the middle floor of the white stairs. Now that's a very unusual angle, and I think it might prove useful to him if Lethal decides to pop on through the white stairwell and push on towards Fireplace.
Looks like there's a lot of droning coming from the attackers, though.
Now Ace is being the bandit, takes down Bones, but he does get killed in the process here after Kens finishes him off. Evening out man count once again. We're in a 4-4, still 2/3 of the round left to go.
Still looking pretty good for Lethal, though, having top control now. This is not the best place for Mindfreak to be in, given the track record on this map so far.
It seems like it's a very horizontal play for the most part for Mindfreak. Now, Rolfie is their strict roamer. He's the one that's going from top to bottom to middle to side. And what we're going to see from him is now him coming up the white stairs. Now, again, this is one of the spots that was held onto by Castle earlier. But seeing as how that drop hatch inside of Reading got opened up previously, and top floor is no longer the control of Mindfreak, they're going to need to change it up a bit.
But that means they're going to be limited to the stairs, which is why you want to do top control in this game, is now Rolfie has to use the stairs. If they can control the stairs, Rolfie's not coming up anywhere. So it's a situation where, like, if he's their only roamer, they're not going to be able to do any kind of pinch or flank without a good distraction on them.
It looks as though easily he's going to pump shot. The mute from behind pulls out the pistol and finishes off Dizzle. This could be the end of round one here. It's a 3-on-3. Looks as though we're going to have Rolfie also get taken out by Easily. A peek around, and it looks like Punisher able to finish down the trade. So it's still a 2-on-2. Diffuser in the hand of Thermite as Punisher is stationed still inside a Fireplace. Now Flank has come around for the flank. Will he be able to peek on down and get the shots? He's already given away his position. Now he's fired away. Looks as though the diffuser gets planted and Punisher will go down. Last one alive is going to be Flanked. To his left is going to be Ash. He gets the shot in a 1-on-2 right now. And there's going to be the final shots. Rams able to finish down Flank. And that is going to be match number one. Map number one going to Lethal Gaming.
Definitely showing a very solid start for a team that seemed very confident in their abilities. And they showed it there. Like, just a really flexible setup that they were doing, lots of like roaming around, feeling free to actually take control of areas and keep control from Mindfreak, because Mindfreak just didn't seem to have the ability to coordinate those attacks the same way that Lethal did.
What I felt like happened is a little bit like what Kix and Penke said, is they had a strat, they wanted to execute it, but Lethal threw in curveballs, little nicks and nannies, little here and there, and that basically made that strategy go out of whack. And Mindfreak, I don't think, was able to adjust as well as some other teams that we've seen here today.
Yeah, and assuming that Lethal have similar play on this next map, that's not going to be great for Mindfreak at all. It's going to be hard for them. And we may see a 2-0 in the case of what Kix was saying, where it's just like if that first round goes heavily to the first team, may see a 2-0 here. I mean, Canal, they were saying, plays pretty similar. So if that's the situation there, then this is very much going Lethal Gaming's favor.
Definitely. And so, I mean, with that, we're most likely going to see we're obviously going to see the top floor of Canal. We're going to see the control tower and the servers. However, we have seen on Xbox that teams do sometimes want to go over to Red and hold down the Coast Guard office.
Yeah.
Is Mindfreak going to be one of those teams, or is Lethal going to be one of those teams?
I think Mindfreak needs to be one of those teams at this point because they need to throw a curveball at Lethal. And if they don't, if they play it standard, we're going to try and control and split split people up, things like that. You're going to see Lethal know how to take top control. And regardless of which bomb spot you're playing, that's what you do on White Building. And if they do that, it's going to be very difficult for Mindfreak to come back from.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, they play very similarly. And so with that, we are going to see some of the highlights from today's matchup here on Cafe. And again, a lot of these matches, a lot of these kills have been going back and forth.
Very much
Lots
trading.
of trades happening.
Yeah. But, I mean, at the end, like, they trade a lot, and then at the end, Lethal wins.
Yep.
Like, that's what it came down to, is, like, Lethal could finish the round, regardless of the trading.
And round number 3 was a one-on-one, and unfortunately, that wasn't a trade at the very end. That was just a very smart echo play.
Yeah.
But, I mean, all of these, you see trade after trade, orange, blue, orange, blue, orange, blue, and there it is, another trade here back and forth. So, again, these two teams are very, very close, and the scoreboard at 5-1 doesn't show that. It doesn't justify it.
Yeah.
But I think you would see a more even layout of the field if you saw, okay, it always got down to a 2-on-1 or it always got down to a 1-on-1. You took that into account. These two teams on paper are probably a lot closer than what the match that we just witnessed.
Yeah, and I think that comes down to they're both pretty smart. They both know the maps pretty well. They're both good at gunfights. But what Lethal's winning in it is the way they're playing together as a team. And that's what helps win it. I mean, I'm not sure how long Mindfreaks have been playing together outside of this game, but they've only been a team for about 6 or 7 months. So that does kind of bode well for Lethal if Lethal's been playing longer than that.
Yeah, and I mean, these, like was said earlier on the analyst desk, Mindfreak is a team that have come from competitive gaming, not necessarily together, but they have that experience, and it's just a matter of trying to get that group together and then bring that to the field today.
Yeah.
Bring that to the field today right now because they're down 1-0. And so now that Lethal has this momentum, they've got a vast momentum, 5-1 on this first map. We're going on to Canal, another map that typically has some fast-paced play to it when it gets down to the wire. And so I think this is Lethal's forte, which is one of the reasons why they chose it.
Absolutely, and it's a map they've played quite a bit in qualifiers as well. I mean, both teams have. Like, both teams know that they're good at this map, and it's a question of, I mean, it was a similar situation with Cafe, so it's, so far, again, looking like it going Lethal's favor just from what we've seen so far. I mean, we know a lot less about Mindfreak than we know about Lethal, so there could just be something totally different coming out here from Mindfreak on Canal, but I'm honestly not seeing it. I'm seeing this, I don't think it's going to be a 5-1 again, but I'm not seeing this going in Mindfreak's favor.
After witnessing what we just played and how close the rounds seemed to get, but always went in favor of Lethal, I think we're going to see something very similar. I think this might be our first 2-0 of the evening, but that's not to take away from Mindfreak's game.
No.
Like we've been saying, these matches have all been close. These rounds have all been close. It's just that when you put a little bit of grain of salt in the scale, it's going to go in favor of Lethal.
Yeah, and I think if Mindfreak does lose this 2-0, I do think we'll see them again in the future. I do think they're a team with a lot of potential, regardless of how this turns out. I just think there are some things they could work on, like the adjustments that we were talking about. We're just not seeing those. And that's something we've talked about a lot today, is being able to adjust is such an important part, and we're just not seeing it.
All right, so we are going to head on over to Canal and take a look at those bomb sites, because this is our second map for this best-of-3 series between Lethal Gaming and Mindfreak. All right, so here we are on Canal, and again, this is one of those maps that, like you said, plays very similarly to how Cafe went down. Are we going to see something different? Are we going to see Lethal either continue the same pressure or maybe change up the pace? I mean, sometimes when a team that is that good at playing fast, playing aggressive, they also have the flip side of being able to do the counter of that. And if we see Mindfreak preparing themselves for a fast push, they might bring out a slow operator such as Capcan or Frost, someone to slow down an aggressive push. They aren't choosing it now, but it's definitely something that is capable and to be in the arsenal.
Yeah, I think it's something they need to be like better prepared for how that attack's going to come in terms of like setting up and things like that. And like, for example, like, Mindfreak is not bringing out Valkyrie, right? And this is a map where I do think being able to throw cameras outside is so important. We saw it in some of the matches earlier, being able to take out those repellers, so useful because they're trapped in a situation where they can't do a whole lot and they're busy working those windows.
Yep.
So having the ability to tell what's going on outside is so useful. And so, like, you know, if they're not going to throw up those cameras, send someone over to red. Have someone able to peek out those windows and see what's going on outside a box.
And this is one of those maps, like you said, where a lot of the gameplay from the attackers is outside facing in. They're not penetrating the building too much. And so having that knowledge outside, having those Valk cams outside is going to give you so much more valuable
Yeah,
intel.
you don't want to be face checking
sound.
windows.
Agreed, agreed.
Especially on this map.
Yeah.
Not a good thing. So, I mean, we're not seeing a lot of really, especially unique setup. They are bringing Mute again. This looks like pretty much their same lineup they're always playing with, for the most part, on defense. It's not anything specific to this map so far.
Now again, this is a little bit different. Seeing the attackers push on into the boat room right away. Now, I'm judging by the speed of Ken's going through this floor, going through this site, I believe they've already identified that there are no roamers. He's really just getting on through, getting pathways he's able to get on later on.
And that aggressive Ash play sometimes can really catch people off guard, especially if it's the first round as well, and no one has felt anyone else out yet. Like, sometimes you can get away with that. Even if he had caught someone with their pants down in red, he might have been able to take him out first.
And it looks as though Rolfie is going to get into it with Ken's a little bit. Ken's is inside of the red Germany Hall, looking down right towards jail, and Rolfie's going to give a little bit of fire right back at him.
Looks like he's pinched a little bit between two windows here, but he's using as much of the level as possible to try and protect himself. And that rotate hole is definitely working in his favor right now.
Now, Rams just called him out. He droned it out into Maps room, said that, hey, Rolfie's in here between the two windows. Stay on it, Kens, because we need to get that kill. Easily, however, is underneath inside of the cafeteria, inside a kitchen, looking right up at the hole that's been made by, I believe that is Castle that's inside of there.
It's great how fast they took control of this floor. That's not great for Mindfreak because it means they don't have like any way to stop them from doing exactly what's happening right now because they just don't have control of this floor below them.
So what we're seeing now is Isley and Kens, they both know that someone's inside a server, and they both know that he's on top of the drop hatch. You can see Capital already trying to just push bullets up through there.
They are just completely taking map control here, and it's surprising, but we do have someone, I think, downstairs.
That is going to be the Jaeger, however. Kens peeks on in from map room up to jail cell, is able to take down the Mute, and Bandit's going to be forced out of there. Now, Jaeger has come back around. He's going to pick up one kill on the bones. That's Rolfie now peeking around. He's going to get onto Kens, as Kens has managed to get inside of the map room.
Now, I don't know if that was the right time to do that. I mean, he got a kill, but now he's exposed, and he was kind of their one wild card at that point that could have done something to actually change this. Might want to have waited till the attackers were a little more focused on that top floor.
I mean, he did manage to come up the stairs and pick off Capital as well. He's now back on site. It's 3-2. Looks as though Kenj will get downed off by Rolfie. A third kill, and as he comes on through, Rams is going to pick up the trade before the final bullets go down. A little flick from Rams, though. It's going to take down Flick. A third kill from Rams, and Ace was able to take down the dead Duckies. A 1-on-2 now. A 1-on-2 still. So here is Punisher, back of control tower. Kens is injured at the top of yellow stairs, or the top of the main stairs, as Diffuser has been planted. Now going up against a Doc with still stim pistols in his arsenal. He still has full health. This is the point where I would stim myself, get up to 120 health, then go in for that engagement. But he gets the kill, and this is going to be Mindfreak taking round number 1.
And the other guy was down and didn't even have to finish him off. So nicely done. I really thought Rams had saved that round for them. But nicely played by Punisher. That was a tight situation. He knows the diffuser's getting planted in the other room, and he could be flanked from both sides. But he did know one guy was down. So it's a situation where he just had to feel out who had made that plant and where they were expecting him to come from and try and counter it. It was a good shot. I mean, that could have gone either way in that gunfight right there as they pushed in. So nicely played by Punisher there. That was definitely very close. Like we said before, like a lot of close battles here, usually being closed out by Lethal, but at least we saw one there closed out by Mindfreak, and that was a good start to Canal for them.
I think what we're going to see here is continued progression from Mindfreak. We're going to see them continue to get stronger, continue to get their strats in order, and this is one of the things that I think is Mindfreak is bringing to the table.
Yeah.
They appeared to be off their game, map number 1. But I think the progression of them getting used to this scenario, getting used to this environment, playing on stage in front of tens of thousands of people here today is definitely something that could be overwhelming at first, but I think they're starting to get into their comfort zone, and this is what we're going to see here from Mindfreak on this map.
Yeah, and we do see them even changing up their operators a little bit now. Bringing a fuse, for example, is not something they had brought in the previous rounds on attack. So they are at least doing something either map-specific or trying to change up what they're doing. And we'll see if that pays off. I mean, fuse can be great on some of these windows and things like that to try and like loosen up the site, basically.
Especially if you're going to castle it. Knowing that fuse is now a very viable operator that many teams might choose, bringing a castle to castle off the west wall, in my opinion on this map, is not necessarily a smart move, especially if the attacking team brings the fuse and they know, okay, someone might pop out of garage. So they're going to have someone watching garage, going for the bait, and then fuse is going to get up and blow open the windows.
And let's hope that they planned to use it that way, because, I mean, the castle windows are there for a reason, because they are very effective. Otherwise, it's stopping a lot of shots coming through the windows that could really pin down your team. But at the same time, like you said, that also protects fuse then. And that becomes a situation where fuse can now kind of just go up like without just worrying about anything but garage. Nice angle there.
Easily trying to make a little bit of a better hole here from maps upwards towards the box floor.
In case they get into that box there. That's a nice angle.
Now, Kent is going to be here inside of the control center. You can hear the yokai going around towards display. It's going to spot Flank's drone, call that on out, and that's going to allow Kent to rotate over.
Nicely played there, using the team communication with that yokai drone to get some intel for him.
Now Flanks is going to pull a same move similar to Kent's, popping on in down here into the boat supplies hallway, and again progressing forward, getting rid of the cams. And again, this is what we talked about earlier today when we were watching the PC version. Is it's underutilized, that basement, that boat room downstairs inside of the Coast Guard.
Yeah, we haven't seen anyone playing brick today. So I mean, maybe it's something that just no one really wants to risk isolating someone over there or doing.
We can hear box has been opened up, and a hard right is where we're going to see Ken's. He pops, or I'm sorry, Bones pops on out and gets Punisher, moves on over to try to get another. He's Doc, he's going to pick himself back up, but Ace is there to take him back on down. It's a 4-on-4. Man count is now even, but a couple bullets are going to go into the butt of Echo as he scoots on over into the connector between A and B.
Nicely played. I almost got that kill on the Capitao. That would have been pretty strong there, getting those 2 kills. But missing a shot.
Ooh, incendiary arrow easily takes down Aces. And he also gets another kill here onto Rolfie, but we do have one member. Looks as though he got down. Wasn't finished off, though, by the Capitao
got picked
arrow.
back up, too, so that's not really going to hurt that much. Down to 50 health, but still got those bullets and can do some damage.
Now, Flanked just saw Jaeger go back up the main stairwell. He's going to call that out. Flanked finally takes him on down. There's going to be another kill from Rams, though. Kens gets the final one, and now it's a 1-1 at the moment.
That was definitely a much stronger play that time from Lethal. That was a bit more what we expected to see from them given last round. That was them playing a bit more like they did on Cafe.
Definitely.
I mean, that first round, maybe not as much. But you know what? They're still filling out this map with this team as well. So this could go either way. We're at 1-1, tit for tat. You know, winning at least one round each gives both teams a chance to feel each other out without going behind. So we are going to see the kitchen projector room, though, it looks like now.
So, I mean, kitchen projector is, again, the second favorite bomb site for the majority of teams out there.
Yeah.
Now, Mindfreak choosing this kind of gives me the idea that they are following into a standard pick, a standard meta, if you will.
Yeah.
It is the favored, but judging by what we've seen so far from these, from the players of Mindfreak, I feel like we're going to see something very similar to their play on the top floor of Cafe. A very static, not very vertical, and hopefully it goes in their favor. Hopefully they've practiced this map enough, but
I hope that's not the case, because that doesn't tend to work out well. I mean, we talked about it earlier, though, too, like splitting up your guys between the top and bottom floor can be risky as well. Like, there are downsides to it. We saw Era playing just the downstairs and actually working it well and managing to pull it off. But it's not the common way to do it, right? You usually want to put 2 guys up, 3 guys down, or 3 guys up, 2 guys down. But in this case, you know, it's up to them to decide, and they might decide on the fly depending on what they know about the attacking team.
Yeah, and it does help when you have Avian jumping out of doors and windows to get triple kills.
You can be a little risky, but yeah, there are some great moves you can pull off. You can even put one guy downstairs in the basement, for example, to come up for those flanks on the windows, because you know people are going to be repelling on those windows a lot too when attacking the kitchen as well. So We're seeing a lot of people rush this boat room like this. This seems to be the thing to do now.
Yeah, to me, seeing as how Kens did this a second time in a row, not even a blink of an eye, just kept doing the same thing. If they can get a Valk-Kim out there early on and spot that he keeps on doing this, that's when he can start taking advantage of that standard procedure. But easily he's going to get one kill onto Punisher and get a second kill onto Rolfie as he wallbangs. He's going to open up the hammer here, spot another one inside a server, but he will be taken out here by his own teammate. Bones just finishing off easily after that glorious 2-kill at the beginning.
Bones definitely had some shots to take and took them at the wrong time. We are seeing, though, the defenders actually brought Valkyrie this time, so that's a nice change. They do have some cameras, I assume, outside. That's going to give them a little bit of intel there.
And Duckies gets off of the south wall and moves up to the platform of servers. Kens is making his way in here, but does he know that there's someone inside a connector? He does now as he gets the headshot onto Dizzle, taking him down. Now he's going to drop on and look towards Kitchen. Looks as though Bones picked up one on the flanks. Last man alive is going to be behind the table inside a map room. They saw him. Bullets are going to go flying. One gets down. Ace is going to hit right behind the table here, try to go for another kill. Bones is now inside. Diffuser is going to get planted by Rams. A 3-on-1 as Kens is now inside. It looks like Duckies gets finished off, and now it's a pinch. A 3-on-1 with 10 health to go here on Ace's. Diffuser planted. This is not looking good for Mindfreak. And Kens comes around outside of Kitchen into maps and gets the final kill on the Ace.
There wasn't going to be a whole lot Aces could do in that situation. Having the hallway around him was just going to be like a point for them to come around on him. Being trapped behind that table when they know he's there, that's a really hard clutch to pull off at that point. I mean, I liked a lot of their defense, but at the end, they just lost too many people. I like that they at least adjusted and brought Valkyrie to get the cameras there, but I think the aggressive play of Lethal just caught them off guard right there. They weren't ready for that fast of a rush, and I think because they just gave up too much control too fast.
I agree with that. I think it was a little bit more aggressive than what Mindfreak was prepared for.
Yeah.
And that definitely played into them not executing well when it came to defense.
I feel like that was a good read by Lethal, saying like, we can take map control fast, let's do it. Let's take as much control as we can quickly and then just pinch on them hard. So definitely looking again a little bit Lethal favored, but it has been, like I said earlier, tit for tat. So if this goes again to the attacker side here, to Mindfreak, then it could continue to go back and forth until someone changes the pace.
I think what could have aided on that Mindfreak defense hold is when they had people up top, instead of giving the north wall repel to the sledge that ended up getting 2 kills inside of the kitchen, I think what should have happened is you hit that wall, you hit the control tower, the circle monitor's control tower window facing north wall. You hit that once, just get a sound. So you can tell if someone's repelled. You can even call it out. You don't need to go for the peak. Just sit there, listen for the call out.
Absolutely. I almost always want to crack open that window just to at least put the fear into them to know that they have to watch it. And they have to watch 2 directions. As we saw, they ended up with a team kill because of that window.
A little bit too late, though. They had already gotten those 2 kills. But we are here underway. This is round number 4. We still have Lethal Gaming up 2-1.
In brick, though, this time. One is actually, Kens is over in the brick. Maybe taking advantage of those aggressive Ash pushes. So this should be interesting to see if Kens can pull this off. Maybe get a flank if they're just not careful.
Rolfie, though, getting that shot on the ducks from the top of red. Very nice angle there into. I'm going to say that was actually possibly a window bang there onto him.
Yeah, that might have just been a lucky shot in terms of like firing on the window when someone happens to walk.
Rolfie's going to be seen here by easily. Some bullets go flying. A very nice angle, a very nice peek. However, he does not get the kill. Kens, however, will pick up the trade.
Even if he doesn't do any more damage than this, he's already going to put so much delay in their game over here by playing in brick.
Now Kens is coming around to the side. Dizzle's going to move on in very shortly. Rance is going to drone it out in the way, but right now, this all comes down to a 4-on-4, a minute 40 to go, and we do still have Kens over here inside of Coast Guard. This is a typical spot that Dick gets droned out, gets closed on very early on in the round, and it has not been done yet.
I think he's definitely going to use that to his advantage. And now he can just kind of hide for a while. Wait for them to either try and find him and counter it, or just let them forget about him. Wait for them to just be like, oh, well, he's over there. And then come around. He's a 3-speed operator. He can make it back across pretty quick and do some serious damage from behind. You see Ralphie already having to watch that now because if Ken's over there, totally worth it.
Now you do have Mindfreak trying to realize that, hey, we can now get into the top 4. We know 3 are on site. Only 1 person is up here.
A bomb has been located.
Rolfie picks up another kill onto Kens, turning it into favor here for Mindfreak. And again, still 1/3 of the round left to go. They've got the arsenal to do it. Dizzle's going to be on the north windows here, repelling into servers. He's going to be very cautious, though the floor has just been annihilated by all of those fuse charges. Drop pass gets opened up here by Dizzle. You can see the push coming on down very shortly. Nade's going to get thrown in. 40 seconds to go. Thermite's got the diffuser. And still, you have the Yokai still alive here in Echo's hands.
I'm surprised he didn't reinforce that ad.
Which is going to drop, lands right into Rams, takes one down, goes for a second kill onto Bones. But the shots go flying, and right now, there's another kill. Ace is able to get Bones, though, for the trade as Bones picks off Dizzle. Now you have a 3-on-1, easily popped out. He's going to hop on downstairs. He's coming back up from Garage. And the Incendiary Arrow is not going to be good for him. He's got to go through that in order to get onto site or peek around where Punisher is waiting for the headshot.
Nicely played by Mindfreak. I mean, I really thought Ken's was going to put a bigger crack in what they were doing, but Rolfie was waiting for him to peek out that door, and it worked. I mean, they got him. Unfortunately, it was just the rest of the team over in white just not holding up the defense and then just getting separated and annihilated there. I mean, maybe that fuse charge helped. Maybe that really put them out of position in a situation like we talked about earlier with the castle windows and the fuse charge being a situation for them. Obviously, Lethal want to do the same thing, but in that case, maybe it just backfired a little too much on them, getting them out of position, forcing them into Mindfreak's guns.
Yeah, and I think there's two ways to deal with a roamer like Ken's over inside in top of red. You've got two ways to deal with him. Either collapse on him and take him out, or forget about him and just cover your rear.
Yeah.
And I think they chose the latter, and that ultimately got them the win. They were able to get in top floor, cover it down, they pushed on down and got Bones and the rest of the defenders on site. All they had to do was just wait for the flank.
Yeah, and obviously it didn't help, I think, as well that Lethal did not reinforce that monitor hatch. They left that open, and then Sledge was just able to open it and jump down and get some kills when they weren't expecting because there was so many explosions going off.
Yep.
So it's a situation where, like, maybe they left that available to rotate, but if you're going to leave it available, either open it or just be ready to rotate when you know it's open or potentially open.
5 seconds left.
So that might have helped cost them the round as well.
So when we are back here, this is round number 5. Sides are even, scores even between the two. This is map number 2. Now, Lethal, again, Ken's just going to go right on downstairs. Again, the same alley. Oh, he's going to change. Oh, which way you going, Ken's? Which way you going? He is going to go all the way up top. And it said not get down to his normal boat room.
Yeah, I think maybe he's a little worried because he played in the brick building last time. He's worried someone else is going to copy what he just did. Not a surprise there.
So here we have it, Rolfie pre-hitting some of the walls or some of the windows here, and we do have a very heavy top floor hold, and that's most likely because everyone's up here, and we only have one defender downstairs. That's going to be the Jaeger, trying to come around for the flank and possibly just lay a little bit more pressure here onto the attackers as we do get underway in round number 5.
Shots coming out from that window that just not able to hit anyone, but I think Easley's going to be a little more wary now.
Easily will see Punisher's feet before Punisher's able to spot Easily. The fact that you have an upside down rappel, Easily knows he's there, he's already looking for the toes. He doesn't need to get the headshot. Now that is more dangerous, showing your bottom half first.
That was definitely a risky move when he had a nice angle, but I think he wants to force Punisher out of here because then they can take control of monitors. That could be pretty big for their attack.
So, I mean, this is wasting a lot of time. Easily is so focused on here. However, you do have Duckies and Kens trying to work their way on the west windows. So again, with all this destruction, the fuse charge is going out from server platform. Looks as though Easily and Ken's going to pick up Punisher and flank. They've managed to make their way into control, and now Dizzle going to be one of the ones that falls to Ken's as well. Rams picks up one kill onto Aces, but before that happened, Ace was able to take down the Thatcher. A 4-on-1. Rolfie trying to get back on site. A very quick collapse here by Lethal. They're going to take round number 5.
Now that's Lethal breaking the back, well, not really breaking back and forth, they're still continuing that back and forth pattern there. So far we're seeing, as we discussed earlier, we saw defender, 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 defender. Now we're seeing attacker, 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 attacker. And like I said, Canal is one of those maps where we see that a lot. And as we said earlier, first person to break that, generally gonna win. So if Lethal wins this attack round, I'm gonna strongly favor Lethal closing out this map and winning for today.
Agreed. I think it does come down to that momentum. It comes down to breaking, also breaking that momentum of the other team. And so when you do, like, you have that attack, 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 and then you ultimately get that defensive hold, or vice versa. It's just a matter of, okay, now we go back to doing the same thing. Going back and winning the map or the round that we're supposed to win.
And they're technically on the better defensive spot as well now. So they're in a situation where hopefully they can defend that, and if they can, then they break that pattern and take it home. If not, you know what? At least they won the first map, so they're in a situation where they get a chance to recover on Oregon. So Lethal's in a pretty good position overall right now.
They're sitting tight. They're on their bomb site that they want to be on. They've won it previously.
10 seconds.
Now what's going to happen?
Now they've got the intel because they get cameras out here. They just need to use that to really feel out if Mindfreak is changing something or not.
I don't feel like that Valcam's going to go through. Oh, it does, magically.
Yeah, hopefully that's something they've practiced. You really don't want to be messing around with random cameras in a situation like this where those cameras can be very critical.
Yes.
When you see Ash is taking out that camera right there, obviously they don't want cameras up.
What we are going to have here, again, is a very similar lineup to what Mindfreak did the previous attempt here. Now, we saw Mindfreak collapse and get this win. Or, I'm sorry, they did not get this win. What I want to see here, though, is how are they going to handle a hold or a push onto the south windows or onto the east windows. We saw them try to go west. Worked out-ish for them.
There's a lot of windows to mess with, so they can definitely change it up. Ken's, though, waiting for someone to push from that red brick now that he's not playing over there.
We are seeing a bandit swap, though, inside of the box. We can hear the growling, the grunting from Thermite trying to get that charge down. EMPs are going to go out as well. Now, Ken's is coming around for this flank. No drones have spotted him yet. He's waiting to see, is there going to be a call? Is there going to be any kind of sound cue that tells me there's someone on top of red? Because right now, this is very risky. Do I open up this window? Do I jump right out? Do I just bait them by trying to get their attention? Who knows? And this is the decision that a lurker, that a roamer in this game needs to make.
Now, they know he could be playing over there.
He's like poops on out, and he's able to get that shot onto Rolfie. And there it is, Punisher trying to trade him off down. Now, Kens goes for the push, gets detected. And therefore, he's going to travel back on site, and I don't know if he's going to stick around, but it looks as though he might.
That was really unfortunate for Ken's not getting to that shot in time, but it is going to distract them a little bit now that they know he's there.
But now all Kens really needs to do is just keep on looking through that jail bar window to look up towards the west windows, which is where we saw a lot of the members here from Mindfreak. However, the cluster charge from Fuse is going to go inside of the hallway window and get rid of some of the barbed wire, make it for a quicker entry should they need to, because right now we've got 60 seconds remaining.
Yeah, they're going to have to get set up for a pusher soon. I mean, they're both down one player, so it's a 4v4. So
Ooh, Ken's going for another peek, but none of Mindfreak is going to be on that portion of the map, so he's going to rotate back on site through bridge, through display. You can see the yokai now disorienting one of the attackers here. Are they going to try to capitalize on that? Right there, Dizzle now knows, okay, I'm just going for the push here. He just needs to sit still. And there goes the push in. Ken's able to come back up and get a kill, but gets traded off. It's going to be a 1-for-1 there, and now it's a 2-on-3. 33 seconds left to go, and right now it's in favor of Lethal.
This is looking like they could break that momentum here.
Punisher jumps on in, but takes a few bullets to the chest to do so. Ducky's is going to rush on out, and it looks like they're going to down each other. Now with that downs, Flanked has to take this in a 2-on-1 and cannot do it. Lethal's going to take this right now, make it 4-2. It is match point, series point for Lethal Gaming.
4-2 here. As we said earlier, that tends to break it, especially on this map with this momentum, regardless of whether it's attacker or defender momentum. So this is really on Mindfreak to do something not drastic, but maybe a little more out there to really change things up, because that back and forth, it was not working in their favor for defense.
I think what needs to happen is Mindfreak really just needs to take a step back, realize that they need to have their in-game leader, their in-game analyzer, whatever you want to call it. They need to just take a step back, say, what are we missing?
Yeah.
What are we missing? Why are they getting these pushes on us? Why are they getting these angles on us? Why are they getting these just kills, basically?
Yeah.
And it's up to that in-game real-time analytics analyzer to do that.
Well, hopefully they've done that, as it would be sad to see them go with the first 2-0 of the day. Hopefully they can pull it back here and at least get one more point, if not get it up to match point. Bring that overtime.
No, we are going to see Bomb Site go back upstairs here for Mindfreak. Again, this is one of the bomb sites that they did successfully hold, but it needs to happen again.
Yeah.
10 seconds left before 3.
I mean, it's been a lot of defensive wins, or I mean one defensive win. So it's like.
Now, even though Bomb Site is top floor, they are spending a lot of reinforcements here on the main floor, inside of Maps and Kitchen. So what I feel like they're going to do is they're going to try to play that vertical game. They might not be able to hold the top floor as well as they expected, so they're going to try to play underneath.
I think that's not a bad adjustment, because we saw how fast last time Lethal took control of that bottom floor and used that to their advantage. So that's a smart adjustment.
If you think about it previously, though, we did see it was a 4-1 split. 4 were on top, and Lethal still came in, annihilated all 4 in the last roamer. That was Rolfie trying to come up from Maps Room solo. Just didn't work out for him.
Yeah.
But we are going to see here, though, is Rolfie getting the first kill into Easily. Now, Rolfie jumped out, looks out of a kitchen window. Before he got detected, he was able to get back inside. And now he's coming up for the side flank. Rams is going to be inside a display along with Kenz. I want to say Kenz is going to get this first shot, first angle here. But Rolfie moves on in. It looks like it's going to be a shot back and forth. The drop shot from Kenz, though, proves to be useful. Proves to get that kill there on the Rolfie. That's tying it back into man count 4-4.
Nice drop shot, though, for sure. Like, that really saved his life there.
Now Bones is pushing in from kitchen hallway. They're coming in for the flank onto either side here of the first floor. And Dizzle, though, using that MP5 to the max and getting Kenz down for the count. With a minute 40 left to go. Dizzle's sitting on top of these main stairs, coming on over to display. He's going to spot Ducky's going for the shots, but he will get injured and finished off here. Ducky's, however, is down to about 15, 20 health. He's going to rappel on inside as Bones picks up that kill into Dizzle.
It's looking a little bit better for Mindfreak this time, as it's a 3v3, but they have the advantage in terms of health.
Now what I'm seeing here from Lethal is they're fairly spread out. You've got Rams coming outside by the plant hallway by the police car. You had Thatcher rotate around over towards the east windows. And with this, how is this going to unfold? We do see Punisher, though, able to just punish Bones coming up on the north windowsill.
We've seen him kind of clutch it from here before. So it is a good situation to at least have him, of all people, trying to make that move.
So Rams is right now outside on the balcony by server platform. You also have the Thatcher. That's going to be repelled outside on the east window, flanked, knows it. He's looking towards north. Punisher's trying to hold on. Now it looks like Rams is going to give away his position here as they try to open up the door or open up the window way. Again, 40 seconds left to go, but you can already see the push is going to come this way. They just need to know when is the right time to push. There's still 3 stun grenades in Arsenal here for Rams. Is he going to utilize them?
I would hope so. I mean, it looks like he already is. Maybe hit his teammate a little bit, but trying to clear the way for Thatcher to get in there. And
oh, he's going to blind his own teammate. Flank's going to come around, get the kill down onto him. Goes for a second one, but the drop shot trade right there from Rams and Flanked. Back and forth, and that's going to be it here. Actually, no.
The other way around, yeah.
Oh, the other way around. No, it is Mindfreak, though, able to win it.
Stopping that match point win there. But either way, this still could be the last round. They're still on match point.
Still match point, 4-3 right now. Mindfreak slowly coming back. They need to win this to take it to overtime if they want to have a chance to make this into tomorrow's game day.
Definitely.
Now with Mindfreak choosing attack side, they are going to go with that fuse again. We're going to see, I believe we saw the sledge coming out. We have the fuse, the capital, the thermite, and the ash. Now what we saw previously on Canal when we were watching, when we were doing the PC version, we saw Hibana. And Hibana was basically used coming up from sailboat, opening up the box hallway or box wall very early on.
Those long angles.
The very long line of sight. And that's something that we haven't been seeing from either side here today.
No, they're not as concerned with doing that. It seems like, I mean, they're not even bringing Hibana on the attacker side here. So, I mean, this is a different bomb site, but still. So, I mean, definitely differences in meta and how the teams play. So, that's a good thing, though, for the diversity of how these things work out. And that's why maybe we're seeing attacker-sided instead of defender-sided.
To locate a bomb and defuse it.
Yep, and now we're going to see the majority of Mindfreaks start out here by construction, moving their way forward, getting rid of the cans first. But what I'm curious about is where is going to be Rolfie?
Yeah.
Rolfie's kind of been that player that's been doing a lot of work for Mindfreak, and I want to see how he's going to be playing in and what kind of role they're going to put him in for this potential final round.
I think it's going to be pretty important given how pivotal he's been into a lot of these rounds.
You do have Lethal, though. Lethal is all stationed here. You've got 2 top floor. I want to say the other 3 are going to be downstairs. But we are finally going to see this drop hatch get reinforced inside of control tower. So with that being said, now Rams is taking his drone, his yokai, down here into the loading docks, into garage, scoping out, okay, no one's here just yet. And so that's going to allow him to get some more intel and then potentially move that back up to help out Kenz. All right, and so with that, we now have just moments to go. We've got 2/3 of the round still left. The first fuse charge, or second fuse charge of the day, is going to get landing. Not get a single kill just yet, but we do see Sledge getting injured and then finally finished off by Duckies. 5 on 4 at the moment, and right now we're going to be spotting Duckies going up against Flanks right here, going onto the north windowsill. Easily is going to be inside of the control tower, and you also have Rams there as well. but there's going to be one kill here from Easily right onto Rolfie. That's also going to be man count down. Another one from Kent. Now you're going to see Flank get taken out. Easily still here inside the box. He's going to rush on out, goes for the kill and gets him down. It is a 1-on-4 at the moment. If Ace can get this down, they can still be in it. If not, it's looking like it's going to be Lethal Gaming moving to tomorrow. Ace is going to be out here on top of the server platform. He's going to drop on down, head on over. Valcam's going to spot him out, and now that's going to be another bit of intel here from Aces. Ace is going to have to rotate on over. He's now on the south side of the bomb site, going to have to rappel on up. But as soon as the defenders hear this, they're going to rush on out most likely and try to go for a pick, go for a peek. But here, Ace is going to go in for a possible aggressive repel. Instead, he's going to go up top inside a box, and then he's got to make his way in. He's got the diffuser in hand. But right now, he's going to drop on in, and right there, he doesn't spot anyone, but he gives away his position by dropping loudly. You have Jaeger, who's landing above. That's Ken right above him. He's very cautious of that, very aware. There's going to be the Yokai, though, trying to disorient him once again. He's now been spotted out. He's going to rotate back over. They're going to collapse on him. And with 30 seconds left to go, it is not looking good for Ace. There's going to be the final kill from Ken. They're going to take map number 2, head on into the semifinals tomorrow.